So now think about this. From 13 years old of finding out that I had a dad that didn't want me and dealing with all those emotions, now we are in a position to where I'm losing my job. No one wants me because I got fired as the pastor of the church. And when they fired me, they escorted me and my family out of the pastor's house. So now not only am I unemployed, we are now homeless. We have nowhere to go. So Hey, I'm comedian Mickey Bell, and I am so excited. I am on Becoming Famous with Jacy Valeras. Oh, this is going to be so good. Don't miss it.
Mickey Bell, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you letting me be a part of your show, the famous Jacy show.
You're here.
I made it. This is my career moment right here.
Hey, you never know. You never, ever know. Speaking of your career, you are somebody who's had a multifaceted career. You are an award-winning comedian. You are an author. You have done so many things. But I want to go back a little bit before we get into all of that, because I'm curious about where all of that stems from. I want to hear a little bit about your childhood and what was going on back in those early days that may have given you the instincts to want to go into something like comedy.
Sure. I was raised in a very strict religious home where we kind of prayed about everything. We just didn't talk about anything, which meant we were in that sense of just pray about it and it'll go away. And it doesn't. And so I had to find out on my own when I started fighting through my own emotions and my own thoughts that I had. At 13 years old, I was told that I was adopted at birth. And so at 13 years old, right, you're at this point where you're still trying to figure out who you are anyway. Then you throw that on top of it. Now I'm in a tailspin, and I'm really trying to put on a good front that everything is okay. Trying to act like I'm happy where I am, which I was, but still trying to find my identity and trying to work on finding out who I am. That made it very tough for me. And so I was just kind of taught by watching everyone else that you don't deal with your feelings. Just take it, pack it in, and just hope that it goes away. And that's the way that I lived my life, pretty much from one tragic moment to the next, just packing it away and not dealing with it. And then it just kept building up till one point in life where I just hit rock bottom and it all started coming out.
Yeah. I want to talk about you hitting a rock bottom. And if you're comfortable sharing a little bit about what happened, you were a pastor and that was going to be your career. That's what you had set yourself up for.
Absolutely. I was, ever since I was 17 years old, I had just started playing the track of trying to become that role of senior pastor. We went through the proper procedures. We became students, pastors first, because you got to babysit before you can pastor. And so we ended up finally getting to that moment. And when that moment came, that's the moment that my life started falling apart. For most people who don't know, and I know that even people that may not be the unchurched people, maybe you're not a very religious person, that's fine. But you have to respect the fact that when they put the mantle of pastor on your life, the authority has a weight with it. And when they put that weight on me, that started causing everything that I had been packing in since I was 13 to start coming out. And I became a very miserable person, Jacy. I was not happy. I was always looking for something more, like nothing could satisfy me. And it got me into trouble.
Yeah. Well, you eventually decided to make a pretty big pivot. I mean, going from being a pastor, having that be your life's work, to then being center stage, talking about things that make people laugh. Where did that decision come in? Was it immediately, this is what how I want to pivot my career? Or did it take time for you to reconcile with what you lost and then try to figure out a path forward?
The latter. This was birthed out of pain. This was literally birthed out of pain. I ended up falling into a very deep pit of depression. to the point that I did not want to live. I built up an anxiety to where I couldn't go out in public, couldn't be around people. And so life was miserable. And life was miserable not only for me, but life was miserable for my entire family because they're now having to live with this.
Right.
And when you have worked to get to a certain position since you were 17, and now that position's gone. And I tell people everywhere I go, I don't know where it is where you are, but most churches only hire squeaky clean preachers. They don't hire preachers that have scars. I'm scarred now, and nobody wants me. So now think about this. From 13 years old, of finding out that I had a dad that didn't want me and dealing with all those emotions, now we are in a position to where I'm losing my job. No one wants me because I got fired as the pastor of the church. And when they fired me, they escorted me and my family out of the pastor's house. So now not only am I unemployed, we are now homeless. We have nowhere to go. So I have no way to provide for my family. I'm in this deep pit. I don't want to live another day. And I'm dealing with all these emotions that nobody wants me. And I'm now fighting for my own life just to stay alive. And I was probably in that condition for a couple of years, literally trying to figure out if I was going to live the next day. Like I said, when I built up my anxiety, I couldn't go out in public. And so I just stayed home 24 hours out of the day. So then I ended up getting a psychologist that met with me. I finally, after my daughter's prompting, who said, you're going to have to do something, or me and mom's going to have to do something. I ended up finding a psychologist that would meet with me. He got me hooked up with a physician, and I ended up having to meet with them every week for an entire year just so I could get out of the bed. So I had to work on me first. I had to work on getting out of the pit. I wasn't completely out of the pit, still not completely out of the pit, but I had to get some ground underneath me. You know what I'm talking about? You had to get some foundation. You had to build up some strength. And so I had to go through all that, and I had to fight through all those emotions before I could even start thinking about what we're doing now.
Right. Being a pastor, being on, it's like being on a stage, really. You're in front of people. People look to you for guidance, for answers. And then all of a sudden being taken away from that position. What tools were you using to try to build your self-esteem back up, to try to get yourself out of bed and out of the door?
Oh, that's a great question. Probably one of the most important things that I learned was how to take a thought. The Bible refers to it as taking the thought captive, but taking that thought, and I put it this way, replacing the lie with the truth. That was one of the biggest exercises that my psychologist took me through, where I literally, for about a week, I had to note down every negative thought that I had. Scientists tell us, Jacy, that once we have a thought, if we don't do something with that thought, we have 30 seconds. In 30 seconds, if that thought is still there, that thought then becomes a feeling. That's when we start feeling overwhelmed. That's when we start feeling like we want to cry all day. That's when we start feeling like we're invisible. It all started with a thought. So one of the things my psychologist did for me was he had me actually sit down, and I had to keep a notepad and a pen with me everywhere I went. And every moment that I had a thought that was a negative thought, I had to write it down. And when I write it down, it forces me to then look at it and go, okay, is this the truth? And if it's not, then I have to replace it with the truth. So it started a process. It started a practice of where now it's just, I don't have to write the thought down. I can capture it and move it, but that comes with time. But I literally had we had to boil it all the way down to a single thought. And then I literally had to retrain my brain, because that's what depression is. And a lot of people don't realize that. Depression is simply the fact that you've been through a tragic moment in your life and your brain doesn't know how to respond. And out of pain, it starts sending you those negative thoughts. So we have to learn how to control those thoughts. And when we learn how to control those thoughts, we can then start controlling our own mental illness.
What's interesting to me about all of this is then you pivoted to a career where you put yourself in the spotlight to the nth degree. I mean, you have people following you on social media, watching you on stage, coming to see you out on tour. So tell me about how you've used that to
Woo.
actually lift your career as a comic.
Oh, Jacy, we are now moving into another complete level of fighting for our mental health,
Right.
because I went through the basics of getting out of the pit. Then I got stable, right? I got stable, but then I started getting this direction. I've always been that humorous type of guy. I was always with a punchline. I was always, even in the pastoring, I mean, I was entertaining when it came to the messages. People didn't fall asleep because I was always having them laugh. I mean, that's always been in me. So that wasn't anything I had to learn. But then I felt like this tugging of, I'd never been exposed to comedy. The religion we were in, we were never allowed to watch it because there was no such thing as clean comedy. They were all bad. And so I was never exposed to that. So the fact that I even had this notion or this thought to go this path is just a miracle within itself. So I just literally reached out to a couple of comedians that I found online, and I just said, look, this is where I am. This is what I feel like I need to do. Can you help me? Well, they went back and watched a couple of my messages and actually said, oh, you have got the natural ability of a comedian. We don't have to teach you that because you've already got it. All we have to do is work on your writing. So that gave me a bit of it gave me a bit of a big push to say that, well, maybe I'm on the right track here. Maybe I'm onto something. And then my first year, I ended up doing 120 concerts. And I'm like, how did that happen? Comedians are reaching out to me now asking, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm just being real. I'm being vulnerable. In every comedy show, I'm talking about my mental health, and people are attracted to that. I feel like people are finally excited about finding something that's real and tangible that they can attach to. And I guess that's the secret to the success. I have no idea. But I literally had to figure out this new path and still trying to figure it out, to tell you the truth. Just don't tell nobody.
Hey, we are all trying to figure it out, right? That's the secret of life. Nobody knows the secret.
Right. Right.
I want to talk about your social media for a minute because I think it plays into this conversation. You have a great following on social media, on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube. You're constantly posting content of your performances. Do you receive any negative feedback? And if you do, how do you now handle it today? And what advice could you give somebody who is just starting off in their career that might be saying, I don't want to deal with that. I'm going to shut down my career because I can't handle it.
Oh, Jacy. Whoo, you talking about having to have some additional medication to fight through. I was told by everyone, and when I say everyone, I'm talking about my management team, my agent, booking agent. I have a social media team that handles all of this for me. And they're like, we just got to put a lot of material online. You just got to keep producing it, put it online, put it online, put it online. Well, the views started going up, the followers started going up, but it came at a cost. And that cost was, for every person that likes you, there's going to be about three people that don't like you. And the one thing that I learned about social media is it's a lot easier for people to type a comment, be it negative, that they would never say to your face. It's so easy for them to type it and move on, even though if they saw you in person, they would never in their right mind do it because they would be afraid you were going to knock their head off, right? So I had to literally get to the place to where I just didn't go on social media. There's no way you can control it. It's the price of putting things out there, and you're literally, when you post a video, you are literally putting it out there, and you're inviting people to give their opinion. And you know what? They have a right to their opinion. You're not funny. Okay. You have a right to that. So I'm having to learn how to cope with that. And one of the things that we're doing now is my family's keeping me off social media, because it's real easy. Jacy, it's one of those things where you can have 20 people that love you and one person that doesn't, and you're going to worry more about that one person than you do the 20. Isn't it amazing how we
Amen to
react
that.
that way?
It's
And
unbelievable.
so I'm just literally having to learn how to stay away from the negativity. And I had to do that in the beginning when I was fighting for my life, when I was taking that thought, replacing it with the truth. Like people say, you're not funny. Well, I have 180 comedy shows, so I must be doing all right. So you just have to replace it replace it with the truth. But I guess if anyone was having to learn from the lesson from me about the social media, it would be you just have to stay away from the negativity, and it's difficult to do.
I want to talk about the opposite of that because you are becoming very well known, very well respected for what you do. Has there been a moment where you have thought to yourself, I'm famous. People actually know me. Has there been a fan actor interaction? Was there something you've accomplished that has made you think about that?
I don't really think in my mind that I'm there yet. Um, this past weekend, it's amazing that you asked that question. I had a gentleman who came to a concert. He drove 3.5 hours and he said, "You're my birthday present." And I'm like, "I'm what?" And he's like, "All I wanted for my birthday was to come see you in concert." And I went, "Oh, poor boy, you need a life." You and I looked at his fiance and I said, "I sure do hope you got him another present." Um, I'm starting to realize that people are reaching out. That comes with the social media as well. Where we're starting to get bookings, shows that are saying, "We've never seen you in concert, but we've seen you online." People that are showing up at concerts that they saw me online or whatever. I don't know that it's hit me yet. I don't know that I'm getting there, and I hope that it doesn't because I don't want it to change me. I want to still be that naive person that just loves everybody. That's still trying to make it. That's still hungry for stuff. But again, I think a lot of it is the fact that they are attracted to the message that we're bringing. Because I don't want people to just come to a comedy show and laugh and go home and that be it. My goal has always been that you laugh until you pee in your pants, but when you leave, you go, "You know what? I feel better about myself, or I feel like I have purpose, or I feel like I accomplished something by going to the concert tonight." And I think a lot of people, especially in this day and time, are looking for those kind of moments, and they don't expect it from a comedy show.
Right. I heard Winona Judd say one time, every setback is a setup for a comeback. And that has been something that I have always thought about. And I think you are a really good example of that because what could have been the end to not only your career, but possibly your life ended up putting you in a far better position to actually inspire probably more people than you would have had you gone the traditional route that you expected. So
Absolutely.
with that said, what is your biggest goal for where you are right now and what you hope to accomplish with what you're doing?
Um, wow, Jacy, your questions, goodness. I think right now I am on a mission to encourage as many people possible. Like I said in my last statement, I am really wanting to produce a night of comedy where those who are battling mental illness, maybe they have that anxiety like I had to where they can't get out of the bed or they can't get out of the house, can't be in large crowds. I'm really pushing for when I come into town and do a comedy show, wherever that may be, in whatever scenario, whatever stage, I want them to know it's a safe place. I want them to know that when they come there, they're not going to be picked on, they're not going to be made fun of, but they're going to leave with purpose. They're going to leave with answers, and they're going to have a great time, which I think can happen all in one night. Do I have certain stages that I would like to perform on? Absolutely. I mean, there's a couple of those that I really, and for some people, they're like, "I don't know why you would want to be on that stage." I think it's just a personal thing. But other than that, I think I just want to create a career that when they say comedian Mickey Bell is coming to town, every person that battles any type of mental health or an individual that says, "I've got a family member that needs to get to that concert," not because they're just going to have fun, but because when they leave, they're going to feel better about themselves. And we've already had the stories coming in of people that used to cut themselves, people that wanted to, take their own life. We've had stories coming in that said, you being able to stand on stage and just talk about it has meant the world. And the letters we get in every week, the emails, the comments on social media, it's already letting us know that we're on the right path. I may never be on SNL. I may never be on Netflix, or I may never pack out Bridgestone Arena like some of the comedians have done in Nashville, Tennessee, but I'm okay with that. I'm all right with that. I know where my path is, and my path may not be to stand in front of 15,000 people. It may be just be able to stand in front of 500 people, but knowing those 500 people left with purpose, that'll let me sleep at night.
Wow, that is truly, truly inspiring, honestly. Congratulations on everything you've done. I want to hit on a couple of these little things. I say little, they're really gigantic things. I mean, you play over
I would love for
150.
you to throw me some little things, Jacy. I would love for you to throw me some little things.
I mean, you play over 150 dates a year. You were the first comedian to sell at the Stardome. You have toured with so many incredible people in the music industry. I mean, holy cow, this has been such an amazing career, and it feels like you're just getting started. When you look back on the last couple of years and you hear those things, I mean, you've landed at #1 on the iTunes chart. What are you most proud of in your career that you've been able to accomplish?
The fact that I got out of the bed this morning, that's my biggest obstacle.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. I mean, we'll enjoy the moment, and those things that you just highlighted, we enjoyed those in the moment. But the way that life is now, it's always what's next. And even people will treat us that way. I appreciate what you did for me last year, but what are you going to do for me now? How are you going to encourage me tonight? You encouraged me at the last show. You made me laugh, but how are you going to make me laugh at this show? And so I think everything is forward thinking instead of backward thinking. But for the moment, I will entertain your question. I've only been doing this since COVID.
Right.
When I did 120 shows, it was during COVID. And so this is all still brand new, and it's happening so fast that I've enjoyed it in the moment, but I'm always looking to see what's going to be next. And I understand, and my family travels with me, which they're here to keep me humble. I think that's why I pay them. They will knock me down when I start thinking that I'm something. But I think it's just the fact of I got out of the bed today, so I won today. So then I know now I get to talk to Jacy. I get to do a show tonight. So I get to encourage some people because I got up today. And I think that's some of the biggest goals that I think that I have, because if I don't get out of the bed, I can't accomplish some of the big things that we want to accomplish.
You are going to inspire so many more people. I mean, what you are
Oh,
doing is truly remarkable. I'm so grateful that you took a minute out of your day, as busy as it is, to have this conversation with me, because I just think, no matter what field you're in, entertainment or not, hearing from somebody like you who has bounced back from the lowest of lows and has gone on to accomplish so many things is truly remarkable, and it means that that can happen for anybody. So thank you.
anybody, anybody, anybody. Thank you for that. And I will add to that. Just know that you don't just wake up one day and this happens. There were a lot of tears, a lot of hesitation. There were a lot of pain because I had to be cut into this new position. You don't just jump up and say, I'm going to be a comedian and I'm going to go out and I'm going to do all these shows. No, there was a lot of cutting, a lot of painful moments of having to transition into the person that I felt like I needed to be able to accomplish this. And I'll tell you, I have never felt more fulfilled than I do right now in doing what I'm doing. But it came with a price. You can't just not expect this to happen and not be willing to get out of your comfort zone. So for anyone that's listening to this, just know, yes, it can happen to every one of you, not just some of you. It can happen to every one of you, but you've got to be willing to put the work in to make it happen. It's not just going to happen. You're going to have to put the work in. And if you'll stop listening to your haters, and if you'll stop allowing your past to identify who you are now, you can become anything you want to become. But you're going to have to be willing to put in the work to get there. And that's very important.
Thank you for putting in the work, because not only have you inspired me, but of course, people across the globe, and you're going to continue to do that. Thank you, Mickey, so much for everything that you're putting into this career, because you're going to help a lot of people.
Thank you so much for allowing me to be, because it's people like you that allow us to get the story out. I mean, people won't find us unless people like you highlight our story. And I thank you for what you're doing and helping us push this story, that people can have hope and people can get up again, and you can be whatever you want to be. Just get after it.
Well, how lucky I am to be able to have these conversations and ask these kind of questions to people like you. So I'm honored to be in a position to do that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.